Just be like.
Alright, guys.
Oh, sorry. Dude,
We're putting
it's
that
been
laugh in
so
the video,
stressful.
right? Are we
like,
putting that laugh?
Like, that just made my day right there.
Sorry, man. Alright.
Oh, life.
Alright, this is how we're gonna start it.
Okay.
I say we go clockwise.
Clockwise, so you?
Where's the clock be?
With you.
Okay.
Depends. It could be boom, 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 or it could be boom, boom, boom. Depends on which way you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I wanted to clarify.
Right.
Alright, so what I think we should do is start off by saying, hey everyone, welcome to our group project. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And then
Should we say it at the same time?
that may be a
No, we
little too
shouldn't.
much.
Actually, no. You know what we
That may
could
be
do?
a
I could
little
be
too
like,
corny.
"Heyo, everybody. I'm Grant," and then go to you, and you're like.
That's still too corny and it's very
That's-
unprofessional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What if
But
we
it
just
sounds
start
fun.
right now?
What if we did just start right now? What
Hey.
if this was planned?
Hey everyone, my name is Grant Pollard.
I'm Brian Roberts.
And I'm Grant Suggs.
2 Grants. It's all good. 2 different people. We're good. So with our project, we wanted to do a painting. Grant painted a beautiful painting, which you'll be able to see here in a few seconds. And Brian and I wanted to do this project with Grant, and Grant wanted to do it with us. So we thought, hey, let's make it a group project.
Let's make a project.
Yeah, I'm not very good at talking. These two are
Right.
a lot better.
So, let's just go straight into it. One of the very first questions that we wanted to talk about, just to get a general idea of how to do this and general foundation, so everyone's on the same page, is how is visual art worship? And I believe that visual art can be as worship because it's you take the creativity that God has given you and you use that gift as a way to glorify God. And if you're glorifying God, I believe that's worship.
Right. We were all created in the image of God, and part of being human is having a type of creativity that animals don't have. You don't see any other species coming out with works of art or painting or anything like that on their own. It's always either with human intervention or it's just people. So using that creativity and then using that creativity to glorify God is how art should be used in worship, because creativity is a tool like anything else. It can be used for good or bad, but as long as we make sure that visual art in this case is being used to give God the glory and give God the thanks and give God the praise, that is how we use it for worship.
Amen, brother.
And then also, we have the fact that, art can open up your eyes to maybe something you didn't notice before about, maybe the glory of God or how awesome He is in creation or whatever it is that, that God has done in your life. You can show it to other people, and you can relate your feelings of joy and your emotions, whether it's happiness or sadness or frustration or anger, and you can share that with others, and sometimes you can make people's days better by maybe showing them a piece that's beautiful, and it just puts a smile on their face, and it's our jobs to spread joy. So yeah,
That's beautiful. The second question that we had is, what would we like to see a church do to incorporate visual art as worship? One thing that we all agreed on would be that a church should be appreciative of art and encourage people who have a gift of creativity to be able to use those gifts and to develop those gifts, whether it be through class or whether it be incorporating them in the services that the church has. So a couple of ideas would be like that. Or Brian, what were some of your ideas?
Well, first you need to ask the question of how is the art going to be used? Is it going to be used for the church just internally, or is it going to be used as an external outreach type of a use. So I guess the question is how could visual art be beneficial for the church inside of the building, and then how can that benefit also be used for reaching more people and expanding the church outside of the building? One thing we came up with was a class. So if you have a church dedicating a room saying, okay, well, during the week at this time you can have a painting class, and they can advertise it to the community, well then people are coming to the church to learn how to do painting, and then they're being made into part of the community in a slow and steady way. So for music ministry, it could turn into like a concert or a recital of some sort. And for the painting ministry, it could turn into putting up the pictures on the walls of the church, and then having those people feel like they have contributed in some way, and they are now a part of the community, along with repenting, along with being baptized and being filled with the Holy Ghost. But when you're in a family, you take the things that little kids make and you put them on your fridge, and you're proud of those things. So when the church would have those classes, they could take whatever was created and put them on the walls, and the church is then decorated through its own outreach ministry, and those people feel like they're a part of the community.
Awesome.
It's not only that, but you also have the fact that it's our job to help people to grow, not just with being spiritually mature, but in every aspect of life. And so we have classes for young adults so that they can grow up to be be independent and not have to worry about maybe finances. So maybe they're like budget classes and stuff like that. And so the arts are something that we should also embrace as far as that, because people want their interests to be valued. And so if we can show them that we value what they love, then we can also use that as a way to bring them in closer to us, because people like what they like to be liked. If that makes any sense at all.
Very well put, Grant. Very well put. A final question is the painting that Grant has done for this project is how is this painting art or worship? How is this painting worship? And honestly, I believe because I'm from Colorado, I'm very aware of creation and outdoors, and seeing beautiful mountainscapes and sunsets, and even Brian is from Montana and Minnesota. The M states, Minnesota, and is able to see some beautiful landscapes there. And so Grant is from Arizona, and beautiful landscapes down there. We got the Grand Canyon, and so we come from some great places. So I feel like we all have an appreciation for creation, and that's what this painting shows. It gives credit to God. It shows God's masterpiece of creation, and I think it's beautiful.
In the book of Romans 1:20, Paul talks about how creation itself reveals that there is a creator. In creation is plan. There's a design, there's an architecture to it, and so it's when we look at a building, it's not illogical to say, well, look, that building has a structure to it that was created by someone. And it's the same thing with creation, is when we see something like a tree, and then we look at the leaf of that tree and we zoom in, we can see that within that leaf there are these little veins, and the water is dispersed throughout the entire tree through these little veins that go into the branch and into the trunk, and it's collected from the ground and it's sent up the tree. So we can see a structure, we can see a design in creation, and we can see a hierarchy of things, and it's from this that reveals God. So when we use painting to capture that, we can capture those small details that you might need to go on a walk, or something like you might need to you might need to spend time outdoors to see those normally, but then if you create a painting that captures that, then even indoors it can be on people's minds. It can be put in front of them instead of having them go out and see it. And so that is one way it can be worship, as long as it's understood as God did this. As long as you're giving God the glory, it is worship.
And something else is that, you know, anytime I ever do a piece, I always think, you know, I always go about it with the mindset of, you know, how awesome God is, that, you know, He could come up with something so great. And so as an artist, you know, it's our jobs, for anybody who's an artist, whether it's with music or art or even, like, you know, something like woodworking or whatever you're doing, you know, it's our job to try and understand God, and to maybe try and capture a little bit of who He is, and so that we can show it to the world. And so I always try and go about it with that in mind, that, you know, we're supposed to, you know, look at it and, you know, just try and approach. I know I'll never do it exactly perfectly, and I'll never do it, you know, exact and perfect. But at the end of the day, I really hope that maybe you can see a little bit of God's glory in this piece. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
Enjoy.